Hello everyone and welcome to our next pre-recorded lesson for CEM, and this is block 6 and this is going to cover the content of lesson 5. We'll go through this video, and of course at any opportunity you want to pause it and you want to be able to work through the different sections that we've got planned for you, then please do. So hopefully you'll find this video useful if you're not able to access our live lessons. So just going to bring up the slides now so you can see what we're going to be covering off. So we're going to be mainly focusing on the Let's book, of course, that you've got, and we're slowly working our way through. These papers are getting progressively slightly more challenging for you, and the timings are certainly reducing down as well, but certainly looking forward to working through this lesson with you. Let's have a look at the lesson overview, just so you've got an idea of what's going to be covered off. We are actually going to start with a spelling test, so we'll go through that with you in a moment, and then we're actually going to be doing a comprehension, and we're going to be looking at the Limpopo Academy of Private Detection, Alexander McCall Smith. We're looking forward to going through that little comprehension with you. Then we're going to do some reshuffled sentences. We're getting really good at those now. And to finish off, we're going to look at some synonyms. In our live lesson, if you are able to join us, we will have a quiz at the end, and those quizzes I know you're certainly enjoying. I'm going to put Billy in the bottom corner just so it's easier for you to focus. And let's start with our spellings. And our spellings this week, we're actually focusing on homophones. So we're looking at words that sound the same but have a different meaning and a different spelling. So I'm going to need to tell you, of course, what the definition of the word is, otherwise you won't know exactly which one I'm referring to. So let's start by going with these homophones. What you can do in your spelling book, of course, is write down the numbers 1 to 12. If you can't do it in your spelling book, then do it in your jotter book or on a spare piece of paper. Okay, let's begin. So number 1 is morning, and I'm referring to morning as in the opposite of the afternoon. Morning. Number 2, the other morning. If you're grieving, if you're mourning for someone who's passed away, morning. Write the other morning. Number 3, I'd like you to write the word principle. Now we're talking about principle here as in morals. So your principle. Number 4, the other principle is when you might refer to, for example, a head teacher principle. So please write the word principle. Number 5, compliment. Compliment. If you give someone a nice compliment, you might say, oh, your hair looks nice today, or what someone is wearing looks very nice. So giving someone a compliment. Write the word compliment. Now the other compliment is where something complements something else, and that again might be about clothing, an item of clothing complementing something else. It's where something fits well with something else. Complement. Number 7 is coarse, and you can often describe something as being coarse when it's rough. So we're looking for that particular homophone, coarse. Number 8, the other course, is the course as in a meal course. So your first course, your main course. Write the word course. Number 9 is weather. Now the weather we're talking about here is the weather outside. So please write the word weather. Number 10. The other weather that you need to write down is whether or not you would do something. Write the word weather. So you've got both weathers there, that's 9 and 10, and then we've got 2 left. Now number 11 is council, and we're talking about council as in the advisory body, so maybe your local county council you might have heard of before. So write council. And the last word this week is council, but counsel as in giving advice or guidance. So you might think of, possibly you might have heard of the word counselling. So to give advice or guidance, so write the word counsel. So probably what you noticed when we were going down through those words, of course, the pairs of words sound the same, but they have completely different meanings. So I think what we wanted to ensure was, yes, you're spelling these words accurately, but you hopefully know the difference between them. So let's bring those words down, and what you can do is double check that you've spelt them correctly. Let's just go down through with a pen and we can just mark them. See if we can come up with a different colour. Here we go. So we're going to go morning, morning, principle and principle. So you can just see a subtle difference there between the head and the sort of the morals. Complement, complement, only one letter different there, the I and the E. Course and course, weather and weather, counsel and counsel. So it's quite easy to see how people can easily get confused with these words because often the spellings are only subtly different. Okay, let's move into our main part of our lesson. Now, certainly in regards to our actual lesson, we will use the audio during our live sessions, but certainly today I'll be able to guide you through the timing so you know, but it will be an audio that we'll use, and we've referred to these symbols a few times already. The arrow meaning to move on to the next page, continue working, but when you do see that cross, you must stop, because when you see that, you need to wait for further instructions. You can review any questions within the allocated time, but you must not move on to the next section until you're told to do so. That's an important difference between some other exams that you might have done, that you're not allowed to go back to any sections once the time elapses. Right, let's have a look at the comprehension that we're actually going to be doing here. So comprehension is going to be based on particular text that you may have read before, may have come across before, but the audio, of course, during your live lesson will go through these examples, and you'll need to listen really carefully to those specific examples about South Africa and answering those questions. The practice question 1, you'll need to record that down onto your multiple choice sheet, which will be C, so make sure you mark that clearly. And then you've got 9 minutes. So what we would suggest you do now is you pause the video if you need to, get a timer ready, and you're going to time yourself for 9 minutes, and you're actually going to be working through page 49 to 52. And please do make sure you've got your separate multiple choice sheet. Now, just a reminder, this week it is Test B, Paper 1. We're still in the Get Started section of your book, and you'll need to start with the first section, makes it nice and easy for you today, with comprehension, pages 49 to 52. Now, there are 8 questions that you'll need to answer, and please follow those down through by marking with a horizontal line what you believe the answers are. Okay, so you can see here, example 1 is B, using a horizontal line. If you make a mistake, rub it out and obviously put the right answer. Right, let's go and have a little look at what we've got. So again, we would pause the video at this stage, I think, and then have a go at working through. Now, there is a couple of difficult kind of challenging words in here, so just going to bring up this video here. I'm just going to copy it in just for the pronunciation of one of those specific characters that's mentioned in this text. So let's just paste that in, and we'll just be able to watch this video just to know how to pronounce this person or this character's name. I think the pronunciation is a little bit unique. I am going to actually put up the Google Cam just so you can follow this very short little video just on the pronunciation of this. So let's see whether the Google Cam comes up. There we go. So here we go. We can just watch this very briefly.
One of the most common questions that I've asked about these books is how you pronounce the name of the main character, Precious Ramotswe, and in particular the word MMA, which is her honorific. The proper pronunciation in Setswana is Ma, where the M, the double M, accentuates the M sound, but it's quite difficult to get that in English, and so most people speaking English will just say Ma Ramotswe, but it should really be something more like Ma Ramotswe with a strengthened M at the beginning.
So there we go. Hopefully that's given you just a bit of an idea. It's always good to get the pronunciations right of these specific names. So, as we said earlier, what we suggest is that you give yourself 9 minutes to work down through this comprehension, and then we'll go through the answers with you afterwards. So pause the video and give yourself 9 minutes. Right, hopefully you've been able to do that, and hopefully you've done well with your comprehension. So this is the actual text itself, and it's from the Limpopo Academy of Private Detection by Alexander McCall Smith. So hopefully you were able to read it down through. Okay, so Ma Ramotswe, we can see here we've got Ma Ramotswe there mentioned a few times. That was the one that we were just helping you with your pronunciation on that, if you want to be really accurate. So let's have a look at the questions and see if we can work out the answers here. So number 1, in which country does this story take place? Well, the answer was A, so it was Botswana, and it does mention that very early on in the passage. Here we are, look, in Botswana. According to the passage, which of the following questions is it usual to be asked? Well, the question that's usual to be asked here, and it mentions it within the text, is have they slept well? Okay, so one might say very customary, in other words, very usual, to inquire of the people whom you meet whether they've slept well. That's quite nice, isn't it? Did you sleep well? Now, according to the passage, what is an effective way of dealing with mosquitoes? And again, it does mention in the passage here, may be defeated by nets or sprays. So the answer is C. So quite a good, easy set of questions to get you started with. All the answers are directly in the passage. You've just got to find them. And it does say twice here, according to the passage. So it's not what you believe, it's what is directly in the text. What is the purpose of a bad conscience? Well, a bad conscience is to remind us to be remorseful for our mistakes. And if we go back to the text, it says a bad consciences, it would appear, are there for a purpose, to make us feel regret over our failings. So the answer to number 4 is D. At what time did Ma Ramotswe drink her tea? Well, Ma Ramotswe drank it at 10 o'clock. And if we go back, it does mention when Ma Ramotswe, let's see if I can find here we are, look, in pink. It was a habit to take to her bed after a final cup of red bush tea at around 10 o'clock at night. So there you go. We can see that it's at 10 o'clock. According to the passage, why do mechanics sleep well? Well, because they are tired from a hard day's work. And again, this is something directly in the passage. Her husband, and by common consent, the finest mechanic in Botswana, would often retire before her. In other words, retire as in go to bed, particularly if he had a tiring day at work. So the answer was B, so 6B. Question 7. What did Ma Ramotswe think about before falling asleep? Well, she thought about Ma Makutski sitting at her desk. I hope I pronounced that right, Makutski, and drinking tea at home. So let's see if we can find the evidence there for that. Let's see. Here we are, picture of Ma Makutski sitting upright at her desk, and then it also thinks about, here we are, look, her drinking tea as well. But Ma Makutski sitting upright at her desk was the other thing she thought about. So the answer was B, 7B. On which of the following subjects was Obid Ramotswe knowledgeable? Well, how to tend to cows. Now, there is no mention of, well, it does mention cows in the text, but the word you need to understand that means the same is cattle. So it does mention here, look, about the ways of cattle. And cattle, of course, you probably knew this anyway, is another word for cows. Okay. Let's go back to the questions. What does the word extinguish mean? It means quench. So hopefully you're able to find the right synonym there. And the last one, what was Ma Ramotswe's relationship with her late father like? Ma Ramotswe's relationship was a very positive one. They were very close, and it does tell us at the bottom here. Her own father, the late Obid Ramotswe, had taken so much with him, but had also left much behind. So many memories and sayings and observations that she, his daughter, could now call up and cherish. In other words, really love and look back at. So the answer to 10 is D. So hopefully you've done really well on your comprehension. Right, moving on to the next part of your lesson, we're now going to have a look at something called reshuffled sentences. And reshuffled sentences is where we, of course, have to reorganise the words. We've done these lots of times, but we need to find the one word that we don't require. So I'm just going to go and have a quick look at the reshuffled sentences. Now remember, in these particular ones, we won't be writing them out. We'll be crossing out the words we've used. It's always worth reading it first, trying to work out what it should say, and then eliminate the words that we've used. So, there's one unnecessary word. We need to rearrange each sentence correctly in order to identify the unnecessary word. Number 1. Were on in the many mistakes their book. And the sentence should read, there were many mistakes in the book. There were many mistakes in the book. So the word on, the preposition, is not used. On rely friends can, I, my, with. Well, obviously pronouns can help us on these. So if I say I can what? I can rely on my friends. So with was the word we didn't need. Now these are getting a little bit longer as we go along. I think the first ones in the first set of papers you did were quite short. So it's getting a little bit longer, but I think you'll still be able to do them really well. So we're going to start with, so we've got the, allowed, the, fruit of meat, piece, sliced, butcher. So we're going to start with the butcher. So what did the butcher do? The butcher sliced, so we're going to use the verb, sliced what? Through the piece of meat. So allowed was the word we didn't require. So well done there. Question 4. We've got the superfluous word is watches. Let's read it first. And the was delayed by watches, half train hour. So the train what? The train was delayed by half an hour. So the word we didn't require was watches. Moving on to question 5. Here you always umbrella and punch should carry. Now, I think maybe the crucial thing here is the word an, because that's probably going to be used because we've got a few words with vowels that we need here. And this is more of a statement. You should what? Always carry an umbrella here. So punch was the word we didn't require. There is another way of reorganising these, and you could say, here you should always carry an umbrella. So you could put here, if you want, at the beginning of the sentence. Question 6, we've got 4 worms search bush, the in bird attacked. So the bird searched for worms, where? In the bush. So attacked was the word we didn't require. So that was B. Number 7, we've got the players unexpectedly match cancelled was football. So we've got a couple of options here, but we could say the football match was unexpectedly, in other words, they didn't know it was going to happen, unexpectedly cancelled. So the word we didn't need there was players, or we could say the football match was cancelled unexpectedly. So we could flip cancelled and unexpectedly. It doesn't matter which way round. It will still mean that players is the word we don't need. And often with these words that are left over often have a bit of a link to what you're actually talking about. Question 8. We've got cooked the sausage, chef the on, assume the grill. So question 8 is the chef cooked the sausage on the grill. So let's go through that. So the chef cooked the sausage on the grill. So assume is the word we don't need there. Well done. If you're doing well on these are quite tricky, some of these ones. So let's have a look at question 9. Vegetables able, fruit and must eat you day every. So how are we going to start this one off? So we're going to gain a bit of a statement. You must, what must you do? You must eat fruit and vegetables every day. How true that is. So able is the word you don't need. Life the doctor unable was woman's save the to permit. So we've got an apostrophe there. So it's probably going to be possessive. So let's have a little look and see if it is. So we're going to go with the doctor. The doctor what? Was, so the verb, unable to save the woman's, because it belongs to the woman's, life. So the word we didn't need was permit. Question 11, this is a bit more short, this one. To hunt fly packs in hyenas tend. Hyenas tend to, what do they tend to do? Hunt in packs. So fly was a superfluous word there. Question 12, city farm is in favourite Rome, Europe, my. So Rome is my favourite city in Europe. So farm was the word that we didn't require there. So well done if you got those correct. Question 13. Now I've got pronouns. I'm going to start with my. My what? My, we're going to describe the shoes. My new shoes are, what are they? They're very fashionable. So robe was the word we didn't need there. Question 14, we've got glass shattered the persuade window instantly. So the glass window shattered instantly. So persuade was the word we didn't need there. And 15th one, the last one here. The froze sun over mountains shone. The sun did what? Shone over the mountains. So froze was the word we didn't need there. And the last section that we're going to be going through for your next lesson 5, we're actually going to be focusing on synonyms. So let's have a little look. Now you've got 7 minutes to do these, and there's 24 questions. So you may have realised if you took part in a mock exam, I think we did 6 minutes, 26 questions. So you can see now how the time is starting to whittle down a little bit. It's quite a lot of questions to do. So we're just going to reveal what the answers are. Any words you don't know, please do put in your word and meaning book and write down a short definition. And these could be good words to recap on before your examination. So let's have a little look at what we've got. So number 1, we've got nearly. So these are synonyms, so we could put them in the same sentence. I'm almost there, I'm nearly there. Number 2, annoy and irritate. Number 3, begin and commence. Useful and beneficial. If you've got something that's useful or beneficial, then it's worth having or worth doing. Dash and sprint are synonyms. Demonstrate and protest. Question 7, we've got unpleasant and disagreeable. Number 8, we've got keen and eager. If you're eager to do something, you're passionate, you're eager, you're keen. Number 9, we've got fundamental and essential. Ignore and disregard. Inspect and examine. And then 12, we've got jealous and envious. So hopefully you're able to keep up. Not going too quickly for you. So any of those words you don't know, and that's not just about the words that are the answer words, but obviously it's making sure that you know all the words within the question. Last and final, lethal and deadly, preserve and maintain, gentle and mild. So those are all synonym pairs. Sometimes it might be worth writing those synonym pairs out, maybe even playing a simple matching game as well. And we'll certainly do lots of quizzes as well to build up your knowledge of some of these key words. Reflect and mirror, naked and bare, many and numerous, operate and function. And we've only got a few more left. So if you didn't know what many, another synonym for many was, numerous, a numerous amount. Bare and naked, you might talk about something having nothing, no clothes on, or also in the context of if you went into a room, say it was unfurnished, you might say it was bare. Let's have a little look at 21. Miss and overlook. Compliment and praise, we had that in our spellings today. So again, you can see how these words crop up. Urgent and pressing, and supply and provide. So well done everyone. If you managed to get 24 out of 24, that would be amazing. But hopefully you did well, you got a high score on those synonym questions. Just a reminder, please now learn your test-free words. These words are all focusing on common prefixes. And the other one we'd like you to just be aware of is the homework that you need to cover off. So it's the week 3 tasks, and we're mainly focusing on comprehension. We've got a bit of antonyms as well to do within your Let's Results Booster book. So some comprehension and also some antonyms to focus on for week 3. Thank you very much for watching this video. I do hope you found it useful, and hopefully we will be able to see you in your next live lesson. But if not, I hope this video was useful for you to work through. See you soon. Take care. Bye.